Hey everyone, it's Anne O'Connell here with OC Publishing, and welcome to the author journey. And do you know what today is? It's party time! And those of you who follow the author journey and know my silliness know what that means. It means that today we are celebrating the launch of a new book, and the celebration is a few days early, so we're excited with anticipation for January 25th, which is the official launch of this gorgeous book. It's been a long time coming, and I will let the author tell you a little bit about that journey to her debut novel, The Tudor Prophecy by Julie Strong. And this is a book that's set in England in 1541. This is historical fiction, when an ailing Henry VIII reigns from an unstable throne. Hester Vaughan lives with her uncle, Sir Hugh Grantmire, his wife, and his daughter, Lady Alice, near London. When Sir Hugh is arrested for adhering to the Roman faith, the family is evicted, and Hester is summoned to join her estranged father in Wales without her beloved younger brother. Desperate to save her family, Hester plans to use her skills as an herbalist to cure the king's leg ulcers, hoping that, in gratitude, he will marry her. Instead, he molests her. Ooh, there's so much going on in this book, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about the author before I have her join me. Julie Strong is a soon-to-be retired family physician in Halifax, Nova Scotia. I can take the party hat off, I think. She has an ongoing shamanic practice where she addresses the spiritual causes of illness. Julie was born in Manchester, England, grew up in Wales, Australia, and Ireland, and emigrated to Canada in 1980. Her medical degree is from Trinity College, Dublin University, Ireland, and she holds a BA in Classics from Dalhousie University in Halifax. She's got a lot going on here. Her shamanism training is from the Foundation for Shamanic Studies in Marin County, California. Dr. Strong has given presentations in Canada, the US, and Europe on the subject of insanity in ancient Greek literature. I've actually sat in on one of her lectures, and she's brilliant, has so much knowledge. I can't wait to get her to join me here. She presented a 3-part series on Greek mythology at Halifax Central Library in spring 2018, and also Finding Comfort in Difficult Times, an overview of shamanism in fall 2021. Her essays appear in several anthologies, including Letting Go, Bacon Press Books 2016, and Much Madness, Divinest Sense, Pottersfield Press 2017. Her story, Alice's Bonfire, won the Budge Wilson Short Story Prize from the Writers' Federation of Nova Scotia in 2010, and her play, Athena in Love, was awarded Best New Play at the Halifax Fringe Festival in 2012. And probably should share with you that The Tudor Prophecy is published by OC Publishing. Yay! So we're here celebrating as her publisher, and as a good friend. Julie is also a regular attendee at the Paradise Retreat, Writers Retreat. So without further ado, after a long intro, I'm going to surprise. Julie is with me here in the OC Publishing studio. Welcome, Julie.
Well, thank you, Anne, for that lovely introduction.
Oh,
it's lovely to be here.
Finally, we've been waiting for a while. And when I say a long time coming, like, that's just from my own perspective. But share with the folks, like, what has been the journey to this moment, like from the moment you decided you were going to write about this, and what has transpired since leading to this final moment of celebration.
Oh, well, and it is a long story. So to put it a little bit more condensed is that I had this idea of wanting to write in a time of upheaval and of turmoil, and I wanted a heroine who was going to achieve something quite wonderful. She was going to be able to receive the healing she needed from her turbulent and traumatic past, and she was going to be able to heal Queen Elizabeth I, who as a child had a very traumatic first few years. And so that was the idea of the book. And then later on, someone on the West Coast said, "Oh, but you have two heroines here. You have not just Hester, you have her cousin Alice.
Mhm.
Surely Alice has a story too." Well, that kind of
threw you for a loop.
It
yeah.
did.
I remember.
And it doubled the size of the book.
Yes.
And it took quite a lot to synchronize the stories. But eventually I had the story that I wanted to tell,
Mhm.
which was all the near-death experiences of my main heroine, Hester, but then all the terrible things that would happen if you were an ordinary woman in these times,
Mhm.
practicing herbalism and laying yourself open to charges of witchcraft.
Right.
So that is the other heroine's journey. But I'm very happy to say that they both find true love in the end.
Oh, I love that. And, you know, I think that we need to recognize, raise a toast to you. I know that a lot of you is in your heroine, and you talk about, you know, traumatic backgrounds and, you know, some of the common ground. So let's raise a little toast here in celebration of this launch that's coming January 25th of this absolutely gorgeous epic novel, your debut novel, and to you for being brave to get this in a story. So cheers
Thank
again.
you. Cheers again.
Cheers again. And we're very thrilled to have been part of that journey. And I want to shout out to Marianne Ward, our associate publisher, who also was the project lead, and Julie's partner in editing. And boy, oh boy, talk a little bit about the editing process, Julie, because as you mentioned, your first draft, and I read a very early draft, only had the one storyline. So talk about that editing process and why it's so important to really, for your editor and an author to be simpatico.
Well, and you know what I say about Marianne here in the acknowledgements, I mean, like, first and foremost, my thanks are to her. And I say that she's like the when you're running a marathon and there's somebody there with the water at the corner urging you on. But really, Marion is more like one of those St. Bernard dogs that brings you sustenance brandy when you're stuck in the snowdrift. And so many times with this, I felt stuck. And Marianne would be saying, "Oh, this is a wonderful story. You're doing great." And she would keep me on track. And it was a fantastic, it was a wonderful partnership. I enjoyed practically every second of it. And so, you know, and that you put me on to Marianne, and it seemed like
perfect match.
Yes, I was going to think about Henry VIII. If he had a perfect seventh wife, that would be me and Marianne.
Oh, I love that. Well, do you know what a wonderful segue. I know that you've chosen an excerpt to read for us. So why don't we do that now?
Thank you, Anne.
Okay, and so I'm going to highlight you in the magic of twisting the camera. There we go.
So this is an excerpt from the second chapter. And the first chapter is where Hester reveals to her cousin Alice that she's been granted an audience with King Henry. Hester has bribed King Henry's niece with a pearl necklace to obtain this audience. And Hester's objective is to cure the king, and that he, from gratitude, will put away Catherine Howard. He's been married to Catherine Howard for a year, no sign of a child. And so it's assumed that she may be barren. And that's another story herself. She used a very strange, irreversible form of contraception, but that's for another story. But anyway, Hester believes that Henry VIII, through gratitude, will marry her, and that Hester will give him the son that he so desperately longs for, because Henry has the one son, but he's likely to die young. And in fact, he does die as a teenager. And Henry is aware that he needs one son if he's going to continue his line. So Hester has obtained this audience, and she also wants to marry the king because she has a brother who may be sent to the madhouse, to Bedlam, when her uncle is evicted from his estate, which happens very close to the beginning of the book. And she needs to be able to support him. So who better to support a young penniless woman and her indigent relatives than King Henry? So this is the night before her audience. And the cousins are going to bed. Hester and Alice unlaced each other's sleeves and bodices, and, clad only in their smocks, dived under the blankets and rubbed their feet over the sheets for warmth. "Oh, I nearly forgot," exclaimed Hester. She retrieved the king's letter from her gown pocket. She kissed it and placed it under the bolster. Hester unfastened her braids and handed Alice a hairbrush. Alice knelt behind, and placing one hand on Hester's scalp, brushed out her cousin's hair with long, even strokes. "Your hair is soft, while mine is like straw." "Your hair is not like straw," replied Hester. "It is more like hay." Alice rapped Hester's head with the back of the brush, then resumed her task. Hester relaxed into the trance of being stroked. "Perhaps Mother could find a way for you to stay with us," asked Alice softly. She put her hand on her cousin's shoulder, and the warmth made Hester want to weep. She was glad that the dimming light hid her tears. Hester waved a hand in front of her face, as if to dispel the ghost of long-forgotten memory. "It is too late. I am committed to the king tomorrow," said Hester, her heart racing. "By the afternoon, I trust I shall be his promised bride." Her hand shook as she reached for a little painting on the windowsill. "Here is Saint Margaret emerging from the dragon. Swear on it that you will keep my secret, and if you fail me, may a dragon devour you forever." Alice hesitated. "I swear, but sweet coz, you are frenzied, like a bear staked for baiting." Hester realized she was panting. She seized Alice's arm. "I know as much as his physicians. They treat his leg ulcers with ground pearls, which is useless." Alice laughed. "Casting pearls before swine. Shh, shh. I know, thanks to Aunt Maud, that borage, calendula, and blessed thistle will heal his marbles. We have seen huge sores." "Yes, but on farmers and millers, not on—" Hester ignored her and lay down. "And if I succeed, Dickie shall have his own apartments and hens and a hen house, and your family will keep heartburn. Also, I shall give a purse of gold to the poor of Westminster, because Our Lady's girdle will afford me safe deliverance of the king's son." Alice, realizing that counsel to her cousin was water running from a duck's back, shut her eyes and soon fell asleep.
Oh, can I honestly say I'm tingling? I love that. And so, this book, not only historical fiction, it is so full of multiple themes. You talk about, the diversity in wealth and poverty. You talk about the whole healing and the herbalism. But what are some of the most powerful themes from your perspective in the Tudor Prophecy?
It's how Henry VIII was able to uproot a religious faith that had been practiced for best part of 1,000 years and replace it with his own, and how that uprooted the lives of everybody, especially the working people, because they would light a penny candle to St. Roche to cure their sore throats, and they would take their cattle to be blessed by the god or saint of a well before they took them to market. And this was more pronounced in Wales than in England, where the goddess of the mountain of the wells was still honored. And what I love is being able to bring the ancient goddess into Wales. Mm-hmm. Like the ancient goddess had pretty been replaced by Catholicism, by the Blessed Virgin and the saints. But in Wales, you still have the goddess. And I think that that's something that we have lost touch of in the 21st century. And I think it's important because we can see what patriarchy has done to our environment. We've separated ourselves. We've become
from the earth.
From the earth, we become reliant on technology, which is wonderful because we couldn't be doing this without it.
Right. It's a wonderful way. And you really embrace that theme of feminism, which had to be kind of not hidden because, of course, being feminine in that time was a benefit to a woman who was trying to attract a husband. But feminism in a way, a power sense, right? Talk a little bit about that, like the power of it.
Well, women really were expected to marry. That was it. And there were very few options open to them. Herbalism was one, but the older single woman, especially if she had a cat, sweet Ollie, has got her ears.
Yes, I'm a crazy single childless cat lady. I'm proud of it.
Oh, it's a noose for you.
It is, yeah.
But it was absolutely terrible, and people, I think, need to know that this is how our ancestors, how the women in our lives lived, the perils that they faced, and what I'm trying to do is steer it towards this Queen Elizabeth, who had all the problems of being a woman, who was never expected to rule the country, but she did. She took it upon herself to be a good and just and merciful ruler who allowed people freedom of conscience. With certainly her father Henry would not allow anybody, even if you were to think anything bad about Henry, that would be enough.
Off with their head.
Yep, that was it.
And we didn't even practice that. Well, it's obviously, as a fellow author, I understand that drive to when there's stories like rolling around in your head that you desperately need to get them out. And so this is like giving birth, but like the gestation of an elephant, not a person, right? But now that you have birthed this first book, and like I said in the intro, you've got lots of award-winning writing under your belt, like a play and essays. What was different between the writing of pre-author Julie, novelist Julie, and the writing of a novelist?
I think an awful lot was dedication and knowing that it was going to take a lot of time and a lot of effort to bring a book into the world. Yeah. And it was something that just wouldn't leave me alone. And I think it was this sense of, this needs to happen. For a long time, I thought, it'll just write itself.
Which is all what we hope, right?
Yes. Someone will just put a little syringe in my brain, and it'll go down on the page, and that'll be that. And then there came a time when I realized, no, I have to put in the time. I've got to
button seat
and do it. And yes, it did take a lot of effort, but I think the lovely thing for me about having put in so much research for this is it means that the next one and the next one, because this novel takes place in space of like 2 months in 1541, and I only need to go up to 1558. I don't have to go much further.
That. So you've already answered my next question. So obviously you loved the process. You've got more stories that need to come out. So this will be a trilogy, right?
Yes.
Right. And it will be a little easier because in the time that you were writing the Tudor Prophecy, I have to show this again. Look how gorgeous this is.
Thank you. I do think it's gorgeous.
Right. In the time you were writing it, you were also a practicing family physician. Right. So how did you juggle that?
In fits and starts.
Right, in fits and starts. And you would take a little bit of time off each year to come to the Paradise Retreat.
Absolutely. And that was wonderful to be with other writers and to have your encouragement for the very first draft and to realize at the last Paradise Writers that attended in 2023 that I didn't have that much time on my side anymore. And that really, when you introduced Marianne, and I thought, yes, I could work with this editor, and that it was time.
Oh, that's so wonderful. I really believe that things happen when they're meant to happen.
Yeah.
And, you know, the planets kind of aligned. So I want to, before we wrap up, I want to make sure that people can see your beautiful new website. Hang on a second. I should have set that up before. Let me see. Is that up now? Yes. Look at that. Okay. So this is brand new. So let's touch a little bit on, so you have this renewed passion for your writing. You know, your dream is, you know, going from family physician to historical novelist, and maybe after the trilogy, there will be other genres. But then this thing called marketing rears its ugly head. So you have to kind of put that aside. And so we're doing all kinds of fun things leading up to the launch. But when you're not used to it, it can be a bit daunting. Am I right?
Oh, absolutely. But it's not anymore, because Anne has found me an old colleague who's going to be my marketer.
Yes.
Which is fantastic.
We're very happy about that. And, you know, we'll maybe a little down the road, we'll bring her on to chat a little bit about book marketing.
Yes.
But you have a brand new website. So I want to give this a little scroll through. That was also a partner of OC Publishing, Grace Laimler,
yes,
who helped you out with this, correct?
Yeah, I think she did a wonderful job.
So we've got, and of course, coming up this week.
Excuse me, I have to say that the logo,
yes,
that's from my daughter, Kit McManus.
Fabulous.
In Toronto.
Oh my goodness. And you know what?
That.
I've had so many comments about this logo. People love it. People have said, is that a raven or a crow? And I'm like, come on.
Yes.
It's got to be a raven. Right?
No.
Please confirm.
I'll have to ask my daughter.
Okay. But I mean, they were more prevalent in that era and in that geography, right? Ravens, yeah. So we have if you're in Halifax and you're watching this on the day that we broadcast, January 21st, 2025, and you would like to come to the launch party on January 25th, it's from 2 to 4 at the main library in room 301. So we're going to have some music. There's going to be a harpist. We're going to have an author, a Q&A led by Carol Bruno, who is a local gem of an author. We just love her. So if you scroll through, there's all kinds of wonderful reviews about the Tudor Prophecy. So these are people who were advanced reviewers. And there's our book launch. And on March 1st, so if you've got your calendar out, March 1st, Julie will be doing a reading at the George Wright Mansion Local Council of Women on Yonge Avenue in Halifax. So that's just down the street from me. So I'm hoping that we'll be able to take that in. Yes. And if you are looking for a copy, it's available. It's available for pre-order now on all of the platforms, and it will be locally available at Bookmark and at Dartmouth Book Exchange at this point. But hopefully we will spread that around again. So Julie, last thoughts for any of your fellow new authors or aspiring authors. What advice would you give them?
If it's in you, you do have to make the time and the effort to put it out there. And it is worth it. I mean, there are sacrifices along the way, but to be able to hold it in your hand and to say, yes, this is mine, and I did this, and it's going to be on shelves, and people will hopefully get some comfort in the dark times. Not just in January and February in our winters, but it'll exist on shelves for as long as there are shelves and books to go on them. And that it's a tale of hope in difficult times. And so I hope that people will be able to relate to it. And thank you for watching this. And please do come to the launch if you can, or the reading on March the 1st.
Oh, it's going to be so much fun. And that's excellent advice. And to, like you said, have a little bit of, brightness in dark times, and learning from history, and reading a darn good book is always, for me, and of course, most people who watch the author journey, that's their thing. They love to curl up with a good book. So this is coming out on January 25th, but it's already available for pre-order, and you can always hop on 𝐿CPublishing.ca. I suppose I could have brought this up for you, 𝐿CPublishing.ca, and go to Julie's author page, and there will be all the links to purchase, but also Bookmark in Halifax on Spring Garden Road will have it, signed copies, and Dartmouth Book Exchange. So again, Julie, thank you so much. And I raise another toast in your honor.
And to OC Publishing, and to you, Anne. Thank you. This is a pleasure.
Oh, it's mine. We'll bring you back, and we'll look forward to part 2. And thank you all for joining us today on the author journey and helping celebrate the launch of Julie's debut novel, The Tudor Prophecy. We're here on Tuesdays at 4, and please sign up for our newsletter at 𝐿CPublishing.ca and subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/𝐿CPublishing, and join us on this amazing journey as we celebrate authors of all genres, of all publishing models, and we bring you industry experts to talk about the process, publishing, writing, and just all of the things that go into that. So again, thank you for joining us. I'm Anne O'Connell with OC Publishing, and we'll see you next time on the author journey. Bye for now.